So again, I can pinch and make it smaller, bigger, get it to where you would like it to be. Somewhere there is good. I'm going to suggest to you, based on the way that this app works, is you make all the letters first that you need to replicate or mimic your drawing smaller first, each on their own layer. And then you can start to make them bigger and lock the layers down. Just an FYI, do that first. So for this drawing that I'm going to recreate, I'm going to need 4 letters, 2 N's, lowercase, and 2 O's. So I'm going to make my typeface Play Fair display, and it's going to be bold. Whoa. And I'm going to make it line width less right now. And I'm going to click on it, obviously, and select it all. Choose a lowercase n. Lowercase n. Then you use your move tool and kind of move it out of the way. You can even make it smaller. And I would suggest you do that. I need 2 of them. So I need to duplicate it. And I'm going to move it over here. And I could even just duplicate the N, move it down here, double click, come on, to select it, change it to, I'm going to use an uppercase O. So I have one. I'm going to duplicate that, and then I'm going to move it over here. So there should be 4 layers, as you can see. And now I would suggest that you lock 3 of them down and just work on 1 layer at a time to make your letters bigger, place them, and that's the best way to work with this app. So I need to make this N quite large. And before I go too far, I would suggest you pinch down so you see more of the pasteboard. And I need to make this quite large if I'm reproducing my drawing. And I'm looking at it as I'm talking to you, right? I'm kind of going somewhere somewhere right around there. We'll leave that. And again, go back to your layers palette. I'm going to lock that one, and I'm going to unlock the next one, and then I'm going to go ahead and start working with this one. Now I know I have to rotate this one for my drawing. And how you rotate it, first I'm going to make it a little bigger. And see the arrow key kind of turns up, and then you rotate it. And I needed to get 100, again I'm using my pen. I think that's 180. And then I'm going to make it bigger, much bigger. Move it into place, and if you start to see, I'm starting to play with this negative space figure ground relationship. It's not quite right yet. I still have to make it a little bit bigger. Let's see if I can get this without making a mistake. There we go. I think it goes somewhere over here, something like that. Then I'm going to, again, lock it down. I'm going to go back to my other layer, the other end. I know this needs to be bigger now that I'm starting to build some relationships here. I'm going to make it bigger, move it into place, somewhere like that, I think. I think this goes up a little bit higher. It's kind of like that, sorta. Lock it down, go back to the other end. Okay. Oh, this seems to be locked. Unlock it before I start going crazy. Maybe, I think I need it to be a little bit smaller. There we go. I think it's like that. There we go. That looks pretty good. And I know you can't see what I'm seeing, so you're just going to have to trust me. Then I'm going to start to work on my O's. So again, I unlock one of the O layers, choose it, then start to make it bigger. And I'm going to go up into here. Needs to go kind of that large. And if you notice, I'm really starting to play with the negative and positive shapes. Things are touching. They're touching the edges. That looks pretty good. I'm going to lock it down. Then I'm going to go to my last O and unlock it. And it needs to get a little bigger. There we go. And somewhere right about like that, I think. And I'm going to lock that one back down. So now I'm going to zoom back up in here so you can see. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the negative and positive, the foreground and the background shapes to start swapping, right? So it's how much negative space, how much positive space, or positive ground. And I know this app is not perfect, but I'm starting to see the black, and then it's flipping to the white negative spaces become the positive objects. So this is starting to work. And that's how I would suggest that you do it. The one thing that's really important to consider here is this is an asymmetrical balanced design. It will work with figure ground. It's easier to do symmetrical ones if you want to start there first. You have to do two, so try one symmetrical and try one asymmetrical. But close your right eye, and if you start to see flipping between positive and negative spaces in your composition, then that's a really good job. The other thing you want to do is activate your edges. Have some of your letter forms start going off the edges and outside the frame. That's very helpful. It does depend on what fonts and typefaces you're using, and it does depend on what letter forms you're using. So you can make one letter form really big. There is a limit to the Sketch app that allows you to do it, so you'll have to investigate that. And depending on what letter form, maybe that G letter form that I used before, if we want to do another one, let's do another one. And we'll use the letter G in this Playfair. Okay, so I'm going to go like here. I'm going to use a lowercase g. And we'll hit check and we'll make it really big. Again, I'm going to scooch. Whoops. I'm going to scooch. I'm going to move tool. I'm going to scooch down. And then I'm going to select it. And I'm going to make it really big, really big. There might be a limit. We'll see. We'll find out what happens. Ah, see, there it is. There it goes. Right? It just starts to disappear. So there is a problem with the app. So if I wanted to do that, and then I want to lock it down, let go, is that enough of a figure ground? Not really, right? You still can kind of see the G. So if you wanted to do something like this, you would have to add some other letters in. So some of these negative spaces would then become positive. The one in the G, the middle G kind of oblong vertical is starting to pop, but the rest of them are not. It does look like a G sitting on the white ground. So investigate that for yourself.